Hello again. Welcome back. Um, Welcome back to this visual arts channel called Stractify, where we are going through a perspective drawing series. And right now we are deep in the midst of 3-point perspective and focusing on 3-point perspective distortion. Okay. We've already done one video on distortion where we came up with this image right here. And this is the second part of 3-point perspective distortion, where we're going to get a little more extreme. In the first part, we established that, let me zoom in a little bit. So first of all, we have our two vanishing points on the horizon line, and we have our third vanishing point up above the horizon line, high up at the top of the page, right? And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Or maybe I should just leave it alone. Okay. Okay, so what we've established is that all the content that is drawn and constructed and built within the parameters, within the space between the two vanishing points, that object, that content is basically normal, undistorted. It's not affected by distortion. And if it is, that distortion is minimal. So basically this box right here is a normal box, a normal 3-point perspective box. Now, as we venture closer to the left or closer to the right of either vanishing point, the box begins to experience some level of distortion, or whatever object you've drawn, right? I've taken the time to go ahead and draw a dotted line through a vertical dotted line through each vanishing point to show you the border line. And once that border line is crossed, that object is experiencing distortion of some sort, either partially or fully. So in this case, this box, part of its body is outside the border, and so it's experiencing partial distortion. Some of it is inside, some of it is outside, so it's partially distorted here. More of this box is outside the border, so this is experiencing some substantial distortion. And then in this particular case, we have a box that is completely outside the border on the other side of the vanishing point, and it is experiencing complete and total distortion. All right, so even though the box is nicely drawn, it's a distorted box. So in this part of the video, we are going to get further into distortion, and we're going to get a little more extreme. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. We're going to go with the same setup. Horizon line in about the same place, same vanishing points, or similar vanishing points. So here's our HL, and I'm going to bring the vanishing point a little further in, just like I did in the last video. So VP1, VP2, okay, and then VP3 will be way up here, VP3. All right, so what I will do is go ahead and create a small 3-point perspective box. This time I will set up the top of the box rather than the base. Something like that. All right, I'm just gonna sort of blast through this, guys. shallow. And the box is pretty much complete. I'm not going to go through all the other stuff. You just go ahead and darken the outline so that the box is clear for everyone to see. Okay, there we have it, a nice normal 3-point perspective box. All right. Fix that later. Okay, so there's our normal 3-point perspective box. I'm going to take this green pen and I'm going to rule a line, vertical line through each vanishing point so that you can see that boundary. And once any object crosses that boundary or that exists past that boundary, it is experiencing distortion according to the 3-point perspective setup. Okay, so what I will do, switch to blue, and I will lay out my my radiating lines from each vanishing point. So I'm going to lay one out like this. I just want to make sure. There we go. There we go. Like that. Ooh, I'm using dark blue. Should be using light blue. I picked up the wrong pen. All right, we'll come back to that in a minute. There it is. And then we will, so one line way outside the border, and then we're going to open up the radiating line for a vanishing point 1. Like that. And then for vanishing point 2, I'll open it some, but not that much. Okay, I'll open it some, but not a whole lot. So we'll do that. And we will do something like that, because I do want it to intersect this line. And I will just sort of, there we go. Hopefully that's not too distracting. Make sure I'm focused. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's look at the points we have. So we have this point, this point, this point, and that point. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to just radiate lines to the third vanishing point. Like that. From here as well. And from here. Now, I can already anticipate that we need to keep track of a few things. So we're going to call this point A. We're going to call this point B. We're going to call this point C. And that point D. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I've got A with this line. So this is line A. This is line B. This is line C. This is line D. Okay, pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go ahead and establish a height for B. Do I want it here or here? Let me just make it here. This will be B1. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to vanishing point 1 and strike a line through B1. Okay, not a line, we're not going to vanishing point 3, a line through B1. Okay, there we go. Straight through. And somewhere in there, all right, and that gives us A1. Okay, so in essence, we're doing a very extreme box. It's going to look very weird. All right, and so from vanishing point 2, strike a line through A1, or do I want to do it through B? Hold on. Yes, I want to do it through B. So yes, absolutely. Okay, so through B, and that gives me C1 right there. Okay, so I've got A1 and C1, and I'm gonna strike a line from vanishing point 1, which is this, through C1 to give me D1. I'll put D1 right there. Okay, and then I'm going to strike a line from vanishing point 2 through D1. It should connect accurately to A1. I marked A1 as that, but that's one of those lines that is sort of merging together. So it's going to tell me that A1 is, I guess, somewhere else. Let's see what we've got. Oh, wow, that's completely off. Anyway, you guys try to be more art. When you guys do it, you try and be a little more accurate. So let's see what we've got. That's, yeah, that's pretty extreme. Okay. All right, I'm going to leave that alone. But what we've got here, let me go ahead and darken the lines. And I might have to, you know what, I might have to fudge that a little bit. You guys will have to excuse me on that one. Something was off somewhere. So that's sort of like a back wall. Like that. And we have that's B1. So we have the back wall. I'll come back to that. I'll figure out what's going on. I think I missed a small step. Whatever I missed, I'll correct myself. No, I think it's correct. It just looks weird. So doing compositions that incorporate distortion the distortion will throw you off a lot. So you have to really pay attention to what's going on. And just really wrangle those lines in. So basically what we've got is like a weird little tent situation. I'm going to keep it and let the mistake show. And when you guys are working that stuff out, B1. It's B1 and Anyway, let me continue going. Let me bring this together. So that's the issue. I think it's that's to B1. No, this is B1 should be right here, like that. And we've got that. This and this should connect. And it does. So the confusion comes, this looks like it's one line, right? But what's happening is this is B, this is B1, this is A1, right? We used vanishing point 2 to establish A1, vanishing point 2 to establish B1. They need to connect. This point connected to A1 connects to B2, or rather, yes. So what's happening is that's what's happening. But the line is so shallow that it looks like it's just one line. Okay? So that is connecting properly. So basically we get that and that and that and that and that and that. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade it in to differentiate it, but basically you have sort of like a tent. Like that. Little tip, when you have a big area to shade, just subdivide it. And you can shade it a little more efficiently. There you go. And then here's the back area, the back wall. I see what's going on. We did not take care of that right there. That's what's supposed to be happening. So not this, but this. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this part, need to erase that. Okay, so it's like you have a little tent, sort of like a stage area, but that's an extreme version. That's an extreme version of 3-point perspective distortion, where we have our radiating line, one of our radiating lines going outside the border, one stays in, and then with the vanishing point 2, we keep both of those radiating lines within the space. Okay, so just with this being off, you get this distortion, you can get this extreme composition, and then this box remains normal. All right, we'll do one more, even more extreme than this, and we'll see how that turns out. I will see you in the next video. Leave your comments and questions below.